our first story, 2 police officers allegedly shot during an exchange of gunfire with armed robbers in Winneba were actually mistakenly shot dead by the police patrol team, which responded to a distress call. A statement released by the Public Affairs Directorate of the Police Service said the patrol team came across a private vehicle being used by a police officer who was conveying his colleague injured by the robbers to the hospital and inadvertently took them for the escaping robbers. We spoke to Director of Police Public Affairs Directorate DSP Cephas Arthur for some clarification.
This is an emergency situation. This is an emergency. Sometimes you are required to use your discretion, but it all calls for continuous training and retraining. Continuous training and retraining of our personnel to bring them up to speed with.
Are you saying that you haven't done that?
Oh, we continue to do it. You know, our work, is continuously evolving. Crime combat is continuously evolving. And I guess under this circumstance, they acted in an emergency situation. But then that is left for the investigation that we have set into the whole incident to establish. So I wouldn't want to talk too much about the conduct of police officers. They were genuinely responding to emergency situation, and they came across this vehicle coming from the scene of crime. And it was a robbery situation. It wasn't an assault situation. So let us leave that to the investigators.
The National Peace Council says the unjustified attacks on the integrity of any or all of the judges who heard the election petition verdict will be inimical to maintaining national peace and cohesion. The leadership spoke to journalists in Accra.
The Council respectfully advises that every effort should be made to consolidate the peace in the country, and that in consequence, organizations and personalities should refrain from utterances, statements, and other acts that are likely to create tensions that could threaten national peace. The National Peace Council considers that unjustified attacks on the integrity of any or all of the honorable judges who heard the petition would be inimical to the maintenance of national peace and cohesion. The Council therefore respectfully appeals to all concerned parties and media houses to refrain from such acts. So whilst we are reacting to what the 2 honorable eminent lawyers have said in respect of our judges, we're also trying to discourage others from joining the fray in saying things that they shouldn't say. Let us respect the institutions that we ourselves have put in place to ensure democratic governance and the rule of law in our country. The brother asked a question, the biometric thing. I think we chose to go to court and we allow people who have the know-how, the capacity to look at the law and address the issue. And we have no business challenging what they have done. Anybody who has asked to grind has the constitutional provision to follow, seek redress. The MPP says they are studying the verdict and might decide to seek review. That is their constitutional right, if they so desire. All we have been saying throughout is that let us use constitutional means to seek redress and not violence. And so if by studying they feel that they would want to seek redress, nobody will begrudge them. All we are saying is that let us maintain the peace of this country as we seek justice and redress.
Still on the election petition, the former First Lady, Nana Kunedu Agyemang-Rawlings, has applauded Nana Akufo-Addo, to the first petitioner in the just dismissed election presidential petition, for acting as a statesman. Whilst commending the NPP leadership, Nana Kunedu-Rawlings says there were still questions begging for answers as far as the recent ruling on the election petition was concerned. 9 justices last Thursday dismissed the petition, which challenged the legitimacy of President John Mahama as the validly elected president in the 2012 polls. During a visit to Nana Akufo-Addo, the former First Lady did not hesitate to ask for clarity in the landmark ruling and urged the NPP flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo to explain the verdict to Ghanaians. Joy News can tell you that certified copies of the presidential election petition judgment are out. The judgment contains reasons why the petition challenging the results of the 2012 elections had been dismissed. The 9-member panel of judges handed their verdict on Thursday and directed the parties involved in the case to pick up the details of the judgment at the registry. So after 5 days, the judges have now made available to the public and the parties involved in the case copies of the judgment. Joy News can confirm that the parties involved in the landmark case have already picked up their copies. We will soon upload the copies onto our website, myjoyonline.com, for your perusal, so you can keep checking on the web page to get a copy of the presidential judgment. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and chairman of the Interministerial Task Force has said the task force is making progress with the mandate given to them. He said over 600 illegal miners have so far been arrested after the arrest and deportation of some foreign illegal miners a couple of months ago. He spoke with my colleague Emmanuel Ante in Accra.
President John Dramani Mahama on Tuesday, May 14, inaugurated an interministerial task force to flush out Ghanaians and foreigners engaged in illegal mining in the country. The 5-member task force were expected to work with the military and the police to arrest and prosecute Ghanaians and foreigners engaged in illegal mining. Task force was alleged to have targeted foreign nationals more than their local partners, but the chairman of the task force says this is not the case.
Ghanaians are subject to the laws of this country, and so where a Ghanaian is arrested doing illegal small-scale mining, he's sent to a regular course. It's charged in accordance with the laws of this country. During the implementation of the directive by the president, the task force arrested Ghanaians as well, many Ghanaians, somewhere in the region of 600 and over. And we are in the process of returning those machines to the people who brought them onto the small-scale mining sites in the first place. But even before we return the machines to them, we have said that it is important to use those machines to reclaim the land. And immediately after we've done that, we will then begin returning the machines to them.
He said steps are being taken to amend the small-scale mining law to discourage illegal small-scale mining.
The sentence regime is not that deterrent, and so we are reviewing the law. We have suggested some amendments to make any person who engages in small-scale illegal mining pay very heavy penalties, and we think that when that bill is passed into law, it will be deterrent enough to ward off Ghanaians. Presently, as I speak to you, the draft, the changes that we have made has been sent to the Attorney General's Department, and I'm hopeful that when they look at it, they'll bring it back for me to do a memo to Cabinet for Cabinet's consideration and approval, and onward forwarding to Parliament.
The Interministerial Task Force, he says, has come to stay and cautioned all Ghanaians harboring the ambition of indulging in galamsey to be on the lookout. Emmanuel Ante, Joy News, Accra.
Teenage pregnancy among junior high school students who sat for the BEC in the Bunahafo region increased from 77 in 2010 to 101 in 2011 and 170 in 2012. This was announced by Malonin Asibi, Bunahafo Regional Director of the Department of Gender at the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection at a public forum organized as part of activities marking this year's celebration of annual Fofi Yam Festival at Techiman. She advised parents to encourage their girls to attend school because education was a means to assist children to desist and develop their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, political, social, cultural, and economic potentials towards society. Ariel Castro, who kept women captive at his home in Cleveland, Ohio, has died after being found hanging in his cell. We'll bring you that story shortly. But before we bring you the details of that story, the management of the Metro Mass Transit Limited is to roll out an electronic system of ticketing to eliminate human involvement in cash handling in a bid to curb corruption within the company. Speaking to the Daily Graphic, Managing Director Noble Apia said management will also introduce an initiative that seeks the involvement of general public to support the company to remove the inconsistencies in the ticketing system and educate the public on the need to pay the right fares. Moving on to some other stories. Fears of outbreak of disease 3 days after torrential rains wreaked havoc in Bunkrubu and East Mamprusi districts of the northern region. Flood victims of Boni in the Bunkrubu district in the northern region fear that there could be an outbreak of disease as the floods have deprived them of appropriate places of conveniences.
Due to lack of sanitation facilities in the community, residents practice open defecation in the area. A resident of the community, Imoru Mata, told Joy News the practice could soon pollute their source of water. Severe rainstorm resulting in floods over the weekend led to the death of one person and about 700 houses and farmlands of residents of Bunkrugu and East Mamprusi districts were submerged by the floods. About 6,000 residents were also rendered homeless and properties worth hundreds of Ghana cedis destroyed. Victims are currently taking shelter in classrooms of junior high schools in the area, friends and family members. They have been appealing for support from government, which is yet to come to them days after the incident.
It's through the cause of the rain that the houses collapsed. But this is not more issue to what I can say much is to some time ago we faced the same problem. Finally, we didn't know what help they brought here. They wrote our names, took pictures, they went and nothing came. So that's why people relaxed be telling them or showing them their things.
Last year, officials of NADMO and the Ghana Red Cross came to the rescue of hundreds of displaced residents in the area in what was described as the worst rainstorm in the two districts. Meanwhile, residents of Bwentri and Naumo in the East Mamprusi districts are appealing to authorities in the district to immediately fix collapsed bridges in the area that connect satellite communities to the district capital. More than 4 storm bridges on the major road in the area have broken down as a result of the severe rainstorm that hit the area. There are fears among traders and other residents that if the bridges are not immediately fixed, they will not be able to access health care and trade in the Nalerugu township. The news team chanced on the district chief executive for East Mamprusi, Adam Imoro, and some youth of the area working to fix the bridge. He told Joy News that they found it necessary to fix the bridge in order not to deprive traders and other residents there from having access to the Nalerugu township.
Myself and my team went around all the affected areas to see for ourselves. And in fact, there are some of the issues that we cannot handle at our level. Nevertheless, most of the things we can do it at the assembly level, and even the community is ready to help us handle some of the things, like what we are just doing here. In fact, if this work is not done, today no car can come from Bunteri to Nalergo. And that means that most of the people who are even sick cannot attend the hospital at Nalergo.
Public university lecturers are still striking despite earlier signs they were about calling it off. A meeting with the University Teachers Association to look at a proposal presented to them by the Vice Chancellor's Ghana yielded no fruit. UTAG President Anthony Simon said his proposal does not sufficiently address their concerns. Dr. Simons added that reports that some lecturers have resumed teaching in some public universities are not true. Also, FUSAC insists its members will not return to work until government improves their working conditions. The strikes by both associations have threatened to disrupt the 2013-2014 academic year. Now the details of Ariel Castro, who kept women captive at his home in Cleveland, Ohio, has died after being found hanging in his prison cell. Prison officials said he died in hospital late on Tuesday after prison medical staff failed to revive him. Castro, 53, held 3 women against their will for about a decade until May this year. He kept his victims chained up and raped them. He was sentenced on August 1 to life imprisonment without parole, plus 1,000 years. The house was demolished. The former school bus driver abducted Michelle Knight, 32, Amanda Berry, 27, and Gina DeJesus, 23, from the Cleveland streets between 2002 and 2004. A spokeswoman for the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Joellen Smith, said he was housed in protection custody, which means he was in a cell by himself, and rounds are required every 30 minutes at staggered intervals. This has been the AM News. My name is Gladys Oseo Radio. Have a lovely day.